I have the pleasure of bringing to a fireside chat this morning the one, the only Brian White, who now has a channel change. The name has changed. Most of you probably already know that, but I do think it's important to talk about it, Brian. You are now the future guy.
Yeah, FutureAza.
Oh,
The
future
content
guy.
hasn't.
Oh, FutureAza, not future guy.
Yeah.
I keep getting
Yeah,
confused. Yeah.
I
Future.
know that's your thing is getting confused, isn't it? No, it's the content hasn't changed. The name has. The smart people recognize that the content is all the same, and the thicker folks in the head can stop saying, "Yeah, well, you can't be honest because you've got Tesla in the name." It's like, well, I can be
Okay.
honest. You just don't always like what I have to say.
That's right. And I can always be honest because I don't have Tesla in my name.
That's the minimum criteria.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I'm pretty sure.
so my channel, I've been clever from the beginning then by calling this channel Randy Kirk.
hmm hmm
I'm an advertising guy and a promoter, and I've named hundreds and maybe even thousands of products in my time. I can't figure out a better name.
Your parents felt the same way.
I keep working on it. I keep trying to come up with a name for my channel. But for now, I guess I'll just stick with what I've got. I've got some questions for you today, Brian.
Okay, I'm
These
ready.
questions that I asked Larry Goldberg last week,
Oh
and
no.
he loved this set of questions. And I bet you're not going to give me the same answers as Larry, but it's based on my theory that 2026 is the year. It is the Tesla year. And that if I'm right, in 2026, everything comes together in 2026. The street is going to start realizing that before the end of this year. They will start looking past 2025. 2025 is probably going to be a pretty good year too, but they're going to look past 2025 and they're going to see what the future really is. And if they do, finally, the stock is going to get back up to well past those all-time highs because good stock investors are always looking at the future. So anyway, are you ready for 10 questions?
I am absolutely ready. I am a little concerned that I'm up against Larry because he is a very sharp guy. And I do think some of my answers will be different. Let's
Yeah,
see
all
what
right.
happens.
We'll find out what happens. Actually, there's a bonus question too. Number one, what percent chance do you think there is that Tesla will sell at least 2.4 million sexy vehicles in 2026? Not this year, not next year, but in 2026, that the basic line, they'll sell at least 2026. What do you think about it?
As close to 100% as I can get. As close to 100%. It's going to happen. The trajectory is right. It would require, you could do it without the compact.
That's what I'm saying. Just a sexy vehicle.
Pretty easily.
Just
It's the only thing that if interest rates doubled, that would create a problem. If interest rates stay the same or fall, 2.4, lock it in. I'd say
right.
not 100%, but very close to it.
All right, so we can put that one in and we can take a look at that one. All right, number two, what percent chance is there that in 2026 they sell 250,000 Cybertrucks?
Oh, no, I think it's going to be much more.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Right,
so
because they're targeting about 90,000 for this year alone, and
right.
this is ramp year. This is when they're the most expensive to build, the slowest to build, the hardest to build. By 2026, it is a well-oiled machine, and the only thing that will limit demand is the price, and that will be improved dramatically, I suspect, by then. And to get to 250,000 would still leave them in distant fourth, fifth place in the market. And I just don't see that happening. I've yet to see them release a vehicle that doesn't dominate its sector. And this has all the pieces, apart from maybe the battery, which is still improving.
Right.
And there are likely efficiencies in the battery that have not yet been unlocked because they're waiting to confirm the engineering reports. So I think the odds of hitting 250 as a minimum in 2026 are very strong.
Okay, number three, what percent chance do you think that they do 20,000 megapacks at 1.5 million each? That would be 100% output from Lathrop as it's now configured and Shanghai as it's intended to be opened up. So that would mean a full ramp next year in Shanghai and both factories producing at 100%. This doesn't include anything from any other new factories they might open or increases in Lathrop that might be over and above, et cetera. So just those two factories, 100%.
So the 1.5 million I can't speak to because we don't know. Pricing changes all the time. It could be lower than that, but if it was, I think the margins would still be as strong. I don't think they would decrease margins as they lower consumer retail prices, I guess. Not consumer, but the customer price. I'd say 80% chance. And I would say of 80% of that number, closer to 100% chance. Running at capacity is very, very difficult. But by 26, almost 2 years from now, to start, I think they'll have Lathrop all the way dialed in, of course, and Shanghai will take less time to dial in part because they'll have Lathrop to copy, and in part because things just get dialed in quicker in Shanghai. I've been saying that for 20 years, and people are finally starting to listen. But there's going to be, I'd say, very strong possibility, not 100%, but I'd say 80% chance of that.
Okay. And number 4, what percent chances that they will make 40,000 semi-trucks? The current statement is that they will begin production later this year. So that's 2 years, because Elon originally was only giving them 1 year to get to 40,000. I'm giving them an entire year of ramping up and then another year to actually hit 40,000 run rate for the entire year. Do you think they'll do 40,000 semi-trucks in 2024?
I think the odds, 26. I think the odds are lower, quite a bit lower, because there's a lot more unknowns in that for me, not for them, but for me. And I think it'll be very difficult. 40,000 would put them in the top, 4 or 5 semi manufacturers or semi retailers in the US. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's a guaranteed. I think that's still going to be a stretch. So I would say better than 50% chance.
Better than 50% chance. All right. Number 5, what percent chance that they get the 4680 ramped to at least 2 gigawatt hours? So that would be 100% production in Austin of their planned ramp. That wouldn't count any production from Reno. We have a little overage maybe from Cato Road, so you might be able to get to 210. 2.1 gigawatt hours. But let's just say that it's all from Austin, and they just fully ramped. They're getting 100% of the capacity. Maybe you talk about factories not being able to produce 100%, so maybe it's 80% of that or whatever. But what chance it is fully ramped in Austin?
So I think there's a misunderstanding. I know you are of the belief that they said Texas would hit 100 gigawatt hours, and I don't think. And I don't think that's the case. I think that number includes Reno and Cato, because Reno, remember, as it stood a year ago, only had a capacity of something like 35 gigawatt hours. So the idea that something as small as that northwest corner of Giga Texas could produce 3 times the batteries that we get out of Giga Nevada is puzzling to me. So I'm going to say on this one, 2 gigawatt hours, I'm going to say 0% chance. I'm going to say,
all right. So let's just while we're there, then, what do you believe the capacity is with all eight lines running in Austin?
I do not know. I do not have good information on that. I've got a interview pending with Jordan Gibbsrg, and that is on my list. But I will have to wait for better information before I can speak.
I'll send him a note later today, because I do. I'm a Patreon of his. He might respond just to my, as opposed to an interview, just a back and forth note, and I'll let you know before I even broadcast. I'll let you know what that answer is. But my recollection was that before they talked about the 4 additional lines, they had said 100 gigawatt hours out of Austin. That's a strong recollection, and therefore the additional lines would double it. And for Reno, it was supposed to be 500 gigawatt hours out of the 4680 lines that they were planning to put in.
Megawatt or gigawatt?
Gigawatt, and another 100 out of Berlin. So anyway,
Oh,
let's dig back and find out. Let's see if we can find the quotes and find out what's going on there and find out what Jordan believes also as well.
yes, I'm very confused.
Okay, now it's your turn.
My
Number
turn.
7. What percent chance is that they will deploy just 50,000 Optimus bots in 2026?
So that is, as you know, over the horizon, and it's really tough to see over the horizon. Fortunately, this one has enough gravitational lensing that I can see a little bit. So I'm going to say, I'd say by 2026, 50,000 though. See, the problem is it's going to be, it's like churning butter. It's going to be nothing, 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 everything. And I don't know what the date of everything. I think from the date of first serious production, when they actually start to ramp, to the time they hit 50,000 will be very quick, maybe 6 months or a year. But will that be by 2026? I'd say 50% chance.
50% chance. Okay. Number 8. What percent chance that FSD will be complete and you'll be able to drive your car from the back seat in 2026?
Yeah, unknown. Unknown. I just don't have an answer for that, because we could see V12 rolling out any day. It's going out currently to employees and a special group,
Yes.
whatever that means.
They
I
have
just
special.
love I just love that some influencers got it before employees.
Right.
A little weird. V12 could be that step change we've been waiting for that would make the idea of revisiting this in at the end of 2026, when we get to that one and just go, oh yeah, that one happened ages ago. But I don't know. And honestly, I don't know if anyone at Tesla knows either. They can give you their percentages, but their percentages have been historically inaccurate, because understanding the scale of the challenge has been difficult. Recently, George Hotz from formerly of Comma AI, said that he believes self-driving for anyone could still be 10 years out.
Wow.
And he is a very sharp guy who knows a lot of things, but his timelines have also been unreliable. And I don't fault him for that. Predicting the unpredictable is difficult.
It's always the hardest thing, right? Okay. And then, therefore, of course, if you have no prediction. Now, see, again, remember, this is a prediction of a percentage chance. So knowing what you know today is what we're really talking about. So is it a
25%. 25%.
25%. All right. Now we can ask you question number 9 then. What percent chance that robotaxi will be rolled out in at least a few regions or nations?
As soon as level 5 is achieved, robotaxi will be deployed, whether in-house or privately. If you've got a car that's capable, somebody's going to lease it, period.
So 25%.
matches. If it's level 5, that subset is a perfect, that circle fits inside the other circle of the Venn diagram perfectly.
All right, good. Number 10. What percent chance? This is a good one. I love this one. What percent chance that the Gen 3 platform will be producing at least 100,000 cars in 2026, which would be a similar ramp to what we're thinking that the, what do you call it, the Cybertruck will have this year. I'm saying if we don't get started until the end of 2025 and we just start the ramp at the end of 2025, that we'll make 100,000 in 2026. Percentage chance?
100%.
100%.
100%. But by the end of 2026, 100%. They could start production. Yeah. This will ramp quicker than the Cybertruck. This will ramp, I would estimate, more like the Model 3 in Shanghai, okay, which was a very, very solid, speedy ramp. This will, yeah, by 2026, 100% is my guess.
All right. Now, it turns out that if you put all this together, roughly speaking, you're going to find that Tesla almost cannot be making less than about $20 a share. So if with these percentages, it's going to be around somewhere around $20 a share by 2026. If you multiply that times 60 PE, you're talking about $1,200, stock price. Anyway, just something to think about, as we go forward here over the next couple of years. But number 11 is the bonus. What percent chance that Elon Musk will still be at the helm of Tesla in 2026?
Uh, very high, I would say 90 to 100%. Why don't we say 95? The only reason I think he would leave isn't because of money. It isn't because of politics. It would just be because his passion is gone. And I don't see his passion waning. I can't think of someone else whose passion has endured as long as Elon's for a project that's taken off on its own the way it has. Even rock stars get sick of being famous, but Elon is still he still bleeds Tesla red. That might just be blood, but I'm not sure. On the plus side, I mean, Zuckerberg's is blue. We know that. It's very weird. I would point out something for people thinking long term for the future. You said just based on those numbers, we could be looking at $20 a share in earnings. Someday in the future, this stock will become a dividend stock. It might be 20 years, it might be 50 years, but it regardless, even if it doesn't, during your investment horizon, that value is priced in. So what happens is every share you buy today, 200, 250, whatever it is on the day you buy it, imagine that from now on, that stock gives you $20 back every year. So every 10 years, you get your whole investment back forever. And it only, I would say only increases. Not everything only increases. Even the Dutch East India Company eventually fell, but they had a good few hundred years of astronomical dividends before they did. So there's a lot of untapped possibility here. There's a reason people like me invested in 2019. And I saw something in the market that a lot of others didn't. And I still see it today. There are people who, when the stock went from 400 down to 150, said, boy, I bet you wished you sold at the top of the market. I said, yeah, of course, of course. But if I was the person who would have sold at 400, I'm also the person who would have sold when it went from $13 a share to $15 a share. Ha ha, free money, baby. Except that I don't know what else I would have put it in because nothing else had the same kind of upside that I could see here. It is not financial advice. I follow one company very closely and a few dozen companies barely. I generally stop following a company in depth once I've learned enough to know that it is a bad investment because I don't need a 110% clear picture of something that is a bad idea. Just knowing it's a bad idea is good enough. I don't need to know the chemical composition of the poison to know that I don't want poison. So good companies I follow more closely.
All right. Well, you've gotten a red star here, or a gold star, or a platinum star. I'm not sure what kind of stars they're giving kids these days to put on the refrigerator, but you've done extremely well. I would get, you and Larry, you might, who knows? You might be as wise as Larry
Someday.
someday. Yeah.
No, I said Sunday.
Oh, Sunday. Okay, Brian. Hey, thanks for joining me as you commonly do on Mondays and Tuesdays. And who knows when I'll actually produce these, but they'll be out there someday and the folks will see it when they see it. Is that how it works? Okay.
I think it is.
That's how it works. All right. So thanks again. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.